in the case. And actually yesterday they did file a nolle prosequi to the extent that they are no longer interested in the case. And part of the reasons was that if you look at the alleged victim, the 19-year-old man in the center of the whole allegation, says she's no longer interested. Right after the court, there was a circular that was issued from the AG's office, and I just want to read part of it. And the headline said, reasons for issuing a nolle prosequi in the case of Republic versus Percy Chedako. And it reads that the Attorney General has entered a nolle prosequi for the following reasons. One, the victim in the case, Percy, is still very unwilling to testify in the court. The victim states that she is highly traumatized by the event of the incident and its aftermath. And so it is not she's not in the right frame of mind to appear before the court. Thus, the Attorney General believes that it is not in the best interest of the victim and the prosecution to present her before court at this point in time. Again, the AG is mindful of the provisions under the prosecutor's code, one of which is that the best interest of the victim is to be considered in case of this in deciding whether to prosecute a case or not. So these are some of the reasons. One of the reasons they gave for filing a nolle prosequi. What it means is that Percy Chedako was in court himself with his father, some relatives, and his daughter, a free man.
So, Annie, let me ask this question. Now, the question on the minds of many is, did the state not know that this lady was unwilling to continue the case, particularly after she had earlier written a letter to that effect?
Well, I mean, right from the onset, if you speak to most legal authorities, they'll tell you that if the key architect in the whole incident says that I am no longer interested, what exactly are you going to stand on to prosecute? I remember in the course of the covering this particular case, I would just speak to some former prosecutors who said that once the lady said she's no longer interested, then what exactly are you going to base your evidence on? What exactly are you going to hold the man on? Because if the lady were to still come to court, then fine, then she's going to be a key witness. But whereby the victim says, I'm no longer interested, the other party that you have listed as the witnesses, what specific account are they going to give? So, based on legal opinions right from there, most of them thought that the state ought not to have gone ahead in the first place. You also remember, for example, that in the course of the process, one of the court appearances, KKD's lawyer, 24th, made the argument that the whole situation is turning more into a persecution instead of prosecution. And it did draw a lesson from the case between Dominic Strauss-Kahn, the former IMF boss, and the Guinean woman who was alleged to have been raped. And in that particular case, for example, the prosecutors did speak to the witness, and in their own statement, they said that 3 times they did speak to the witness did give various accounts, which are not in tandem with the initial account that's given. Therefore, the case itself collapsed on that front. But hereby, in this particular case, the victim says, I'm no longer interested. So what exactly are you going to prosecute? So for him, he believes that right from the onset, it is more of a persecution than a prosecution.
So in effect, the case was already lost before it went to court?
Well, right from the legal argument adduced, they believe that right from the onset, the state has no case whatsoever to go ahead and prosecute him.
I see. I'm sure you must have seen KKD in court today. You mentioned that he was there with his family and his daughter and a few other people. Now, what was his mood like after this particular submission by the prosecution?
Well, it was very much relaxed. Prior to the proceedings, I had a conversation with him, with him, about this whole general on and off court case and stuff like that. So right after the court was informed that the state had filed nolle prosequi, it came out. We wanted to get an interview for him, but he said that he wasn't going to speak at this time.
Okay. So, and we'll be letting you go pretty shortly. But again, today we were told that a jury was to be constituted for this particular hearing. Now, do you know of any particular reason why a jury had to be constituted in the first place?
Well, I mean, this particular case of, my understanding is that a case of this nature, requires that a jury is empaneled. And my own information tells me that at the beginning of every year, the judiciary itself, looks within a community and handpick eminent persons they believe and a good frame of mind, and they can sit on cases of such nature. But today, that is the information all of us had understanding, was that a jury will be empaneled and the trial will begin. only for us to be informed that yesterday the state filed a non-prosecutor to say that they are no longer interested because the lady at the center of the allegation says, I am no longer interested in pursuing the case against the man I have accused of raping.
Anil Sabute, thank you very much for that update. Anil Sabute is our correspondent in court. He brought us up to speed on the very latest with regard to Kwesi Cheidakwa and the alleged rape case. Now, that'll be it for now, but we'll be bringing you detailed and comprehensive coverage of this particular one on Joy News today at midday. Make sure you're a part of that. For now, I would have to leave you here. Thank you very much for that update. And again, it was that state prosecutors have actually filed the nolle prosequa, meaning they are no longer interested in pursuing the case involving Ace broadcaster Kwesi Cheidakwa. He's now a free man. We'll bring you details at 12 o'clock with Joy News today. Thank you very much.